This is the Rogie Report news on the Fringe FM. I'm Jess Rogie. Pentagon has confirmed that the triangle-shaped craft video released by Jeremy Corbell is authentic. But wait, that doesn't mean it's a UAP or a UFO. The Pentagon spokesperson Susan Gao said in a statement, "I can confirm that the referenced photos and videos were taken by Navy personnel. The UAP task force has included these incidents in their ongoing examinations. As we have said before, to maintain operation security and to avoid disclosing information that may be useful to our potential adversaries, the DoD does not discuss publicly the details of either the observation or the examination of reported incursions in our training ranges or designated airspace, including those incursions initially designated as UAP." Are we in a sci-fi movie yet? A new video has gone viral on Twitter showing a robo-dog patrolling with police in New York City. In the video, the person recording can be heard saying, "I've never seen anything like this in my life." You would think with all the predictive programming we've had, we would have slid right into the robot future. This video comes after several instances of police staff rolling out the robot dog in public streets. The police have maintained that they are using the robots to save lives. According to Boston Dynamics, the robot dogs are forbidden from doing harm or intimidating any person or animal as a weapon or to enable any weapon. Last month, the cryptocurrency Bitcoin surged, and this month, it's Dogecoin's time. Dogecoin has recently spiked to an all-time high, up more than 570%. Why did it go up? Well, good old Elon tweeted about it. He posted an image he labeled Doge barking at the moon. Dogecoin was trading for 13 cents and hit 43 cents after the tweet and has since fallen to 37 cents. So if you want to get into crypto, this may be it. Millions of years ago, dinosaurs ruled the earth. A biologist wanted to know how many T-Rexes roamed North America. Well, in a new study, biologist Charles R. Marshall from the University of Berkeley has found that the probable population of T-Rex in North America could have been around 20,000. His team did the math, and T-Rexes were believed to live on Earth for 2.4 million years. So, that would mean approximately 2.5 billion T-Rexes once roamed North America. And that's a lot of T-Rexes. This has been the Rogie Report news on the Fringe FM. I'm Jess Rogie.
I'm Dave Cruz of Beyond the Strange. You're listening to KTLK Digital Broadcasting. This is The Fringe FM.
Yeah, it's kind of a creepy place, you know, because there's no light at all. They do a lot of experiments out there. Plutonium, nuclear weapon, nuclear destruction. They're just balls of light. There's a ghost now.
All right. Hola, everyone. Broadcasting live from the Napa Valley wine country, just outside the mystical Sonoma Mountains. This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. Thank you for joining us tonight. It is Monday evening, April 26, 2021, the year of our Lord. Streaming live on KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM, and on Spreaker. We've got a great show for you tonight. Tonight we have Mike Dupler. On the Trail of Bigfoot is his new book, and it's fascinating, and we're going to get into a lot of that. But first, please go to www.beyondthestrange.com to register and get your free monthly newsletter to stay in the know for the show. And please follow me, Dave Cruz, on Twitter at StrangeDave70, and the show Beyond the Strange at Strange Days 2015. And remember, that is for Twitter. Also, like and follow the Beyond the Strange Facebook page and join the rest of the Beyonders on Facebook in the Beyonders Crew group. And our good friend and co-host of the show, Russ Bailey, is the admin over there. He'll gladly have you come into the group, welcome you in, and it'll be all good there. So the Beyonders Crew on Facebook. Also on MeWe, we do have a Beyonders Crew there as well. And we'll welcome you just the same on MeWe. There is also an official Beyond the Strange Discord channel, Strange Chat Room, where there are plenty of fringe topics to discuss with a friend during the show or get more information about a certain subject. Go to beyondstrange.com and click on the show. There is a chat tab at the top of the page, and you can fill out the rest to get you hooked up to the Strange Chat Discord room. Also, remember, you can reach me on Telegram and Signal under Dave Cruz, or write me an email for questions, comments, guests you'd like to hear in future shows. Write to Dave at beyondthestrange.com. And make sure to subscribe to Beyond the Strange YouTube channel. Please hit the like button, leave a comment during the live stream or after viewing the video, and follow us on Twitch for live streams during the week. And remember, set your alerts to receive new notifications of videos and live streams. We have Geraldine Orozco joining us next week. And that's going to be a fascinating show. That'll be for May 3rd. And you wanted to get freaked out about alien abduction and human hybrid experiments and all kinds of stuff like that, as well as being Zen and all kinds of good esoteric metaphysical stuff. Geraldine is amazing, of Bay Area Meditation. She's going to join us next Monday night. It's going to be a fascinating show. You definitely do not want to do that. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Let's get into the show. Joining us right now is my good buddy and co-host, paranormal investigator of Black Sky Paranormal and Argos Paranormal, Mr. Russ Bailey. Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, sir. Great to be here. Good to see everybody in the chat tonight. We've got in the Spreaker chat, we've got Mike Jordan and Dragon Rose. And join us in the Strange chat. We also have Toby, Vic Condor. I'm sure James Salcedo is hiding in there somewhere. And I just got to say, I think JP of the Reperceptions podcast is laughing his way to the bank right now because of the whole Dogecoin
right.
that Elon Musk tweeted out. So I just got to say this. So Elon Musk, if you're listening, can you please send a tweet out about Civic Coin? I have a bunch of shares of that. Would love to see it skyrocket. So just, if you're listening, please just tweet it out.
Right. And don't do that yet until after I get some of that coin as well. But
yeah.
And also you can join us for a show one of these days. If you're listening, Elon, just saying.
Yeah.
You're always welcome to join us on the show.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you, Russ, for that. And thank you, everybody in the chat rooms. Also, we do have the main hall of the Fringe FM Discord channel as well. Thank you for joining us there as well. All right. Mike Dupler is a paranormal author and avid outdoorsman. A native Ohioan, he has sought adventures across the United States and attends cryptozoology conferences across the country. On the Trail of Bigfoot also offers compelling theories as to the origins and arrival of Bigfoot in North America. Unique to this book is a detailed examination of stick structures attributed to Sasquatch, providing a wealth of information and reasoned speculation on the nature of these enigmatic calling calls that serve as haunting reminders of Bigfoot's presence. Other communication techniques such as tree knocks and perhaps even spoken language, and an exploration of the implications of the Bigfoot's social interactions and higher intelligence. And to learn more about Mike, you can find him on Facebook under Mike Dupler, and you can also go to MikeDupler.com. Please welcome with open arms for the first time on Beyond the Strange, Mr. Mike Dupler. Mike, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And I see that we were talking about earlier that you have some very impressive endorsements of your book. We have Ken Gerhard, who is a cryptozoologist, previous guest and friend of the show. Also, you have Lauren Coleman, author and founder of the International Cryptozoology Museum. So, this is definitely an amazing book, and it's being endorsed, and I like it as well. So there you go. But amazing stuff, Mike.
I want to thank the people who have endorsed my book. I couldn't do it without them. Thank you.
Awesome stuff. So, Mike, let's find out, where are you from originally?
I am from Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, good stuff. And how did you get into paranormal investigations?
Watching ghost hunters on TV, probably like 100,000 other people.
That's cool.
We, my wife and I went to a place. It's the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. After watching Ghost Hunters, I figured, well, we can go here on a ghost hunt just to check it out and see what's going on, if there's anything to this. So I went to Walgreens and picked up some disposable cameras, and we went to the Reformatory on a overnight ghost hunt. And I took pictures, and we didn't know what we was doing. We didn't have any equipment or anything like that. We just walked around looking here and there and taking pictures and this and that. And towards the end of the hunt, they have everybody come down to a central area and they get pizza and everything like that and give people a chance to talk. And as we were leaving, I had one picture left on one of the cameras, and we were on this stairway, and I just pointed it into what's called a bullpen area, which is just a central location. And I took a picture, and I caught a full-bodied apparition in the bullpen area. So,
Nice.
Needless to say, I was hooked. Still am.
Definitely. I would definitely be hooked after that. What did the apparition look like? Could you tell if it was like male or female, or?
It was a male figure. He looked like he was in a wheelchair. He had like Victorian clothes, and he had like a white glove on one hand. And on a subsequent visit, I took that picture into the bullpen to see exactly where this figure was, and he was floating 3 feet off the ground.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've often wondered, how do ghosts? I mean, I know that sounds like a dumb question, but like when I think of a ghost, I think of just a ghost and clothes, but they seem to materialize other things with them. Has that been the case with your research, Mike?
Not well.
Besides the wheelchair,
the gentleman in the wheelchair.
Yeah,
I think the gentleman in the wheelchair had the wheelchair because it was a necessity to him during his existence. Mm-hmm. But mostly what I've caught is just figures, with period clothing or whatever.
Yeah, that seems to be the norm when it comes to these kind of apparitions. The reason why I bring that up is because I love to tie everything in as much as I can with the paranormal, whether it's Sasquatch, spirits, ghosts, and even UFOs, and extraterrestrials, of course. And I feel that, everything that's tied together, and it's not. I've often had this idea that they're tied together by energy. That's the case with all of this paranormal data and evidence that we find, is that energy always seems to be a factor when it comes to all of these different cryptids and spiritual activity, paranormal activity. So I kind of want to lay the basis of this, of this talk tonight, especially in your book, because I feel that it's really important to find out if Bigfoot is an interdimensional being or not. But before we get into that, how did you first learn about Sasquatch? And yeah.
Well, just watching the documentaries on TV, that type of thing, watching In Search Of and shows along those lines where they have the UFOs and they have the Bigfoots and the Loch Ness Monster and that type of thing. Everybody, I think, pretty much has an interest in that, or they will watch this to try to get some information on it. whether or not they go out looking for it or not is another matter. But the popularity of these shows is amazing.
Mm-hmm. And what's your personal experience with Bigfoot? What really got you on the ball?
My daughter and I were in Oregon. We actually did a tour of the Shanghai tunnels there in Portland, Oregon, because they're reported to be haunted. We rented a cabin in a Oregon State Park that was halfway between Portland and the ocean. And one day we got up and we said, well, we're going to go out and go to the ocean for a day. And we were driving these back roads heading towards the interstate. And in this field, I saw these trees stuck in the ground upside down with their roots facing skyward. Mm-hmm. Now, I had watched a documentary that was Myths and Monsters of Alaska, and they had a segment where on Prince of Wales Island off the coast of Canada, the inhabitants there have a legend that the hairy man will take blown down trees and stick them in the ground upside down as a territory marker. And I saw these trees and I couldn't believe it, that this actually could be something that I could touch or feel, something other than what I've seen on TV, which you don't know if it's accurate or not. And that's what got me going towards the Bigfoot aspect of it. And when I got back to Ohio, I conned my sister into going to Salt Fork State Park, which is, according to the internet, the hot spot in Ohio for Bigfoot.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show, and I was actually in the Grants Pass area, along with some friends of mine who invited me to go up there, and I'll tell you, it's beautiful country. First of all, I love being in the Oregon area, and once I got up there, it was just so amazing, and I could feel like, I mean, I know it sounds weird, but I could feel like like an energy, a presence where we were at. So, I guess what I'd like to ask you is, do you get any type of vibes whenever you do your investigations for Bigfoot?
No. Even when I'm ghost investigating, I am not sensitive at all whatsoever. I cannot feel them. I cannot sense them or feel the presence or anything. I'm just totally neutral as far as that aspect goes, which might be a good thing. I don't know.
No, it might be. You might be right. And I know that, you know, there are investigators who are just straight science based, and then there are investigators who, you know, they try to find a lead on anything, whether it's forgive me for saying woo woo type stuff, or you know, if it's actual science, you know, like real prints, or whether it's I did find interestingly, and maybe you can help me with this, in the book, in the beginning, it did seem to me like you were almost seeming to kind of debunk some of this stuff that is brought up with investigations of Bigfoot, like previous older type investigations. Am I right in saying that, or what's going on there?
I base mine on information that I find. I belong to numerous groups on Facebook, and there's a lot of information out there that or maybe not information, but beliefs, yes, as far as Bigfoot goes. And I kind of shy away from the beliefs because I've never encountered anything like that. Mm-hmm. well, one time we'll get into that. I had a strange encounter. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I think a lot of people put more into it than what actually is, and I think these people are just the armchair investigators. If you get my drift.
Yes, no, I definitely understand that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's only part of the research that people should do if they're really going to get into this. I don't want to say rabbit hole, but if they really want to get into researching Bigfoot, because Bigfoot is a really, really complicated subject. I feel that and it's taken very, very seriously. It's a community that's taken very serious. Russ Bailey has a question from either the audience or for himself. So go ahead, Russ.
Yeah. So Mike, you said you weren't able to pick up on spirits or presence like that. What about scents? Like I've heard like Bigfoot sometimes has like a sweet sense or an odd odor about it. Have you ever picked up on that when you're out investigating Bigfoot or any other spirits for that matter?
No, I've never encountered any smells or anything out of the ordinary as far as that goes. Now, I understand that gorillas have a scent gland underneath their armpit that they emit some foul stench as a defense mechanism. But the way I approach things, I don't think I come off as a threat. So that could be why I've never experienced that.
Yeah, that's very possible. I got a comment from the elf in the Strange chat, and he says,
"Okay."
He says that he usually urinates. Well, he says pee, but to mark his territory. And just saying that, I'm not that strong to pull a tree, but I see that Bigfoot does do things to let people know that he's in the area, and I believe that especially the trees that are upside down, that's a pretty good indicator. And I know that again in the first part of the book you talk a lot about the different types of species and the relations to Bigfoot, and I definitely want to get into that in the next segment, because we do have a commercial coming up here in a couple of minutes. But I definitely wanted to get that foundation, and by the way, I don't mean any disrespect when I say debunk, because I do believe that we do need science and real hard data when it comes to Bigfoot, because there's been lots of like hair samples and different scat samples, and even footprints that have not been identified as regular species of animals, bears or stuff like that, and there's still like a lot of unknown territory when it comes to Bigfoot. I don't believe that everything has been learned about Sasquatch yet. So
we haven't scratched the surface.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. So I definitely feel that we have a lot to learn, and I'm glad that you've taken the time to put these kind of questions and your research in your book. And like I said, I have yet to finish your book. Like I said, but just by what I've read, I mean, it's amazing, and there's so much information that we're definitely gonna we're just scratching the surface of this talk tonight. So, it's definitely going to be an amazing show tonight. Everybody, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. And when we come back, we're going to speak more with Mike Dupler. And On the Trail of Bigfoot is his book. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
This is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
Are you thinking about creating a podcast but don't know where to start? Do you really want to have to learn all this stuff? Individual track processing, enhance and improve sound quality, edit out those awkward pauses and slips, mix multiple clips and tracks, fix and balance noise levels and perfect volumes, deliver consistent sound, live podcast production, show notes and SEO optimization, episode upload to hosting, live call screening, balance levels and loudness measure broadcast standards, full branding packages, logo design, podcast site, website, show artwork, video and audio production. Gotta do video because everybody's doing video, branded video graphics. Or do you just want to get on the mic and get your ideas out there? The Fringe FM team is here to help with all of your podcasting, audio and video production needs. From simple podcast to audio enhancement, our professional production staff will make it easier than ever to create the podcast you desire.
The biggest thing is time. A lot of people that podcast don't have time. Time is like a really valuable currency next to cost. It's even more important than money. Why waste your time doing all this stuff? This is what we can do for you. Think about like the hours and the money you're gonna have to put into doing all this by yourself. Doesn't make sense. It's gonna take you months to launch. If we did it for you, we could do it tomorrow.
Visit thefringe.fm, join our team, and get jump started on your podcast today.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team.
Want more of The Fringe? Check out thefringe.fm for more information on your favorite shows. Also, don't forget to check out the Fringe mobile app or the other ways you can tune in through the Paranormal Radio app and TalkStream Live. Where the normal and paranormal collide, it's the Fringe FM.
Hey there, this is Ryan Gable of the Secret Teachings radio broadcast, and you are listening to the inquisitive Dave Cruz from Beyond the Strange on the Fringe FM.
Have you ever looked skyward and pondered UFOs, aliens, time travel, alternate universes, and parallel dimensions? Want to explore paranormal activities, hauntings, and various cryptoids such as Bigfoot, sea and lake monsters? Greetings, Beyonders. I'm author Casper Parks, and you're listening to Beyond the Strange with host Dave Cruz. Help spread the word by posting links to forums and social media. Available at YouTube, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio.
All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. Streaming live on the Fringe FM, KTLK, digital broadcasting. Tonight we're speaking with Mike Dupler, author of On the Trail of Bigfoot. And Mike is a paranormal author and avid outdoorsman, a native Ohioan. He has sought adventures across the United States and attends cryptozoology conferences across the country. And you can find more information by going to www.mikedupler.com Thank you again, Mike, for joining us tonight. And we are just getting started on this journey for Bigfoot. Thank you very much. Hello, Mike.
So
there you are.
Hello?
I lost you there for a second. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
I'm back.
Okay, so yes, we definitely have started your journey with Bigfoot by talking about how you found him. Well, not him, but you found the trees, got you started. Were there any interviewing processes that by going out in the field and researching more about Bigfoot? One of my questions is, how many people have you talked to about Bigfoot? I mean, is it like too many to count, or you've got a good number enough to know about Bigfoot?
I've talked to several people at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. I've been going there every year for several years. I have good acquaintances there who we compare notes with what we find here and there and what we don't find here and there. The Facebook groups are good. There's a lot of information on there. There's a lot of amateurs on there discussing what they find. And there's people who have their theories or their beliefs on there also. It's interesting to touch on those, to know about them in case you run across something in the field and you said, well, so-and-so wrote about this, and here I've encountered it. That way you can relate to it with other people.
Yeah, I feel that too. Especially experiences like, people who've actually encountered, or who have felt that they've encountered something that is resembling Bigfoot that's out there. In this segment, I would actually like to go over like what you describe in the book of different species of Bigfoot, what they look like, what different cultures have described them as. So if you don't mind, can we kind of go over that? How many species of Bigfoot do you write about in your book?
It looks like 5 or 6.
Okay. And that's pretty much worldwide, right? I mean, you can probably find at least 1 or 2 different species of Bigfoot on just about every continent in the world.
Except, most continents, yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, Africa seems to be devoid of this type of creature. There are some rumors, but as far as an established mythology like we have with Bigfoot or with Yeti or that type of thing, there's not much in Africa where you would think that there would.
Right.
One thing that I did write about was in the early 1800s when they were clearing the land in like the Ohio Valley and that type of thing. There's clearing the land for agriculture. They would find on occasion in mounds, they would find these giant bones that they believed were the Nephilim from the Bible, because they had no idea what these were. And they reburied them, and some got scattered, and none have really survived. But it would be interesting to know if the mandible and teeth of a new species of orangutan that was huge, which he named Gigantopithecus. And it would be interesting to find if the ones that the settlers found were similar to the ones that they found in China. That would be amazing. But you have Gigantopithecus, which was a real creature, a verified creature. There is archaeological evidence to indicate this did live. It was a giant orangutan that was 10 feet tall and weighed probably 1,200 pounds that theoretically went extinct 100,000 years ago. But then that was in China. But then in Asia, you have the Yeti, which is supposedly a mythical beast, which could very well be a relic population of Gigantopithecus. In Australia, you have the Yowie, which is similar to the Bigfoot that we have here, but they're not really known to make structures. They're more more primitive of a creature than, say, a Bigfoot or even a Yeti. And the interesting thing about the Yowie is Australia broke off from Antarctica 135,000 years ago. So there are no primates in Australia. So basically there's no primate base for a creature like this to evolve from. So it had to get there some other way. And Australia is isolated. So I wonder how they got there, because the Aborigines said that they were there when they got there. So that's a big mystery there, as how the Yowie got to Australia.
Yeah, I wanted to just point that out really quick. It's those kind of fun facts that I find really interesting in your book, by the way, because I had no idea about Australia and Antarctica. That's pretty fascinating to me. And that would explain a lot of different species that are not seen in Antarctica or seen in Antarctica that you can relate to or kind of put together with Australia as well. I believe Russ Bailey has something for us.
Yes, if anybody, all the listeners out there, can make it to the Strange Chat, big thank you to the Night Stalker for putting up a caption for the several different types of cryptids, Bigfoot, so to speak. You have the skunk ape in the southern U.S., Sasquatch in the Pacific Northwest, the Yeti in the Himalayas, the Yowie in Australia, even the Wendigo in Canada, which is one of my personal favorites.
That's so weird. I mean, thank you, Night Stalker. I appreciate that. I always thought the Wendigo was like a different type of cryptid in Native American culture. I would never have tied them to the Bigfoot. That's a very interesting picture. Maybe I'll send it to Mike through Facebook so he can take a look at it. But very interesting stuff, Mike. And one of the things about, I want to go back to the giants thing, because, the Nephilim was heavily thought to be connected to to Bigfoot and Sasquatch. And in your book, you do write that it's possible that they're basically just very tall humans. Is that correct? That when the ligaments and the meat, if you will, leaves the bones are separated because of that, which creates an illusion that it's a lot bigger and taller.
Well, you have a lot of occurrences that could give the illusion of a giant, like when the bones separate, or if there's more than one individual in a burial and the bones combine, or they could even be like archaic animals like mastodons or cave bears or that type of thing. But a lot of these were described as being giant bones. And another thing that goes along with this is that they said they had double teeth, which a lot of people think they had two sets of teeth. But actually, on researching it, I found out what that actually means is back in the colonial days, people had very bad teeth. Mm-hmm. the flour that they used, it had like grit in it and wore their teeth down. And to have double teeth meant that you had uppers and lowers.
Wow.
You had all your teeth. Double teeth means you had all your upper teeth and all your lower teeth. So that's actually what that means, because a lot of people misunderstand that and think that what they're finding is these skulls with actually two sets of teeth, which there's no evolutionary advantage to have that.
I still think that goes on in some parts of the United States right now, as a matter of fact.
I would say.
I'm just kidding. Russ Bailey's coming in with some more questions from the chat.
Yeah, so this is kind of a comment / question from Vic Condor in the Strange chat. Vic says they think Neanderthal is some caveman white guy, but what if they are a step between us and Bigfoot? What do you think about that, Mike?
Like an intermediary, like a missing link?
Maybe like an evolutionary step is what I think Vic is getting towards, maybe. Or maybe even some type of, genome hybrid, possibly. Maybe it was something, extraterrestrials did as an experiment. We just never know.
Well, the problem is we don't have any information, any good, solid information to make a determination on something like that. Yeah. We can only speculate. But the position I've taken on that is, once you identify it, then you can assign assets to it. Then you can say, well, it's this, it's that, or whatever. But other than that, it's just speculation. But it's valid speculation, because it could very well be true. It could very well explain some types of behavior or some types of incidents that have occurred. See where I'm going with that?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, and we also have another question in the chat from Toby, and he wants to know. Well, actually, let's go to this one first from Vic. Have you ever heard of the Billy ape?
Yes. Okay.
And then Toby asks, would you like to get a chance to visit the ape caves in Washington State near the Mount St. Helens area?
That's a good question from Toby, but I'd like to hear Mike's comments on the Billy ape first.
Yeah, definitely.
It's, from what I understand, the Billy ape is a recently discovered new species of ape that is, I believe, one of the largest examples of the ape in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, there
I
you
believe
go.
That's correct.
We got one more in Africa, so that's good news, right?
Yeah. Well, this is an existing species. It's not a mythological species.
It
could have been mythological at one time or another, but no, it's not.
There we go. Yeah, no, that's good stuff. And what was that question again from Toby? I'm sorry, Russ. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, Mike, if you get a chance, would you like to go to visit the ape caves in Washington State near the Mount St. Helens area?
There you go.
I would love to. I have been to Mount St. Helens, and the closest we could get was an observation point that was 8 miles away. But I have seen the ape cave locations on a map, so I know they're there. But yeah, I'd love to go there sometime.
There you go, Toby.
I believe that's where the ape or the Bigfoot attacked the miners there back in the 20s, wasn't it? Ape Canyon incident. Are you familiar with that?
I've heard of that, and then most recently, supposedly in the Emerald Triangle back in 1993, Bigfoot or a Sasquatch killed 3 pot farmer growers, three farmers on a dope farm, which I don't know. To me, in my exploration with Bigfoot, I've never seen any, malicious intent. Sometimes they will want to get your attention, so to speak. But anything I've, researched on that, I've really never seen anything with a lot of malicious intent.
I believe what you're talking about is a documentary that's on Hulu right now. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, exactly. I was just talking to Russ about this. Russ actually has finished that series. I just started watching it last night, so I've only seen the first episode. This is a day in the life of Dave Cruz. I barely get the stuff as much as I can because I'm always moving. And there's also a series that I'm trying to watch on HBO Max called Q Into the Storm. That's all about the whole Q phenomenon, and which is actually a really good series as well. So it's like, man, I mean, between reading and working and watching and all that stuff, and then family, and it's just it's crazy. But yeah, that's a very interesting series that's happening right now on Hulu with Sasquatch. I know you said you haven't seen it yet, but do you feel that it is? I mean, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we talk about this? You do write a little bit about Dyatlov Pass in your book, Mike. So give me your thoughts on that.
From what I've seen on that incident was it was a result of Soviet military maneuvers. I don't think a lot of people connected with the Almas or Almasty or the Yeti as that type of attack, but as investigations into this have progressed, it looks more and more like it was the Soviet military testing munitions. Matter of fact, Josh Gates did a segment on that, and that was pretty much the conclusion he came to.
Yeah, Josh Gates.
If you've seen that,
pretty amazing. He's really amazing too. I didn't get to see that episode, but I'll definitely have to go back and check that out. But yeah, there's so much that really hasn't been, in my opinion, it's been talked about, it's been touched on, but I don't think it's really been looked into. Like what you just said, it's like, putting the military, to the Dyatlov Pass incident, that could make sense as well. But yeah, I mean, when you get a gruesome sight like either Dyatlov Pass or like this Sasquatch series, where humans are just being torn apart, it just, it does kind of seem like there's something out there that's just, it's, you don't want to get it mad, put it that way.
Well, I have been close to them several times in my experiences. Okay.
Okay.
And I have been growled at twice on two separate occasions. And when my sister was with me, I take her with me because I can run faster than she can. But we were in this one area, and we heard I wrote about it in my book. We heard a turkey in the brush, and we were walking along this trail, and the turkey was walking parallel to us. Well, we couldn't see it. It was in the brush, but we could hear it. And we went maybe 20, 30 yards, and we heard two growls. I mean, like Godzilla growls. There's nothing in the Ohio woods that sound like that. And it was just letting us know that we were intruding. So we just kind of backed out and left. And on another occasion, I was with my sister again. It was pretty much the same area, and we were investigating a stick structure that we had found. I was taking pictures, and I heard another growl. It was in some brush. It was only about 30 feet away. I could feel the resonance of this growl. And it was just saying, you're too close. Just back off. It was nothing malicious. I didn't feel any fear at all on either one of these occasions. Like, I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. But it was just letting us know, back off. You're too close. And like I said, it was nothing malicious. There was nothing threatening. We didn't get rocks thrown at us or charged at or anything like that. It was just letting you know. They'll let you know. But when I go in non-threatening. I'm quiet. I'm respectful. So there's no reason for them to think that I'm a threat. So if that means anything, as far as violent history of these creatures.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that for the most part, they basically just want to be left alone. And I also do like what you say about, how they want to protect their own as well. They want to protect their children, their offspring, the little, Bigfoot that's also been seen from what I've heard as well. There's little Bigfoots. There's also species that resemble those little Bigfoots, and we haven't covered that, but we can talk about it later. Right now, I believe Russ has another question.
Yes. Okay. This comes from our good friend Dino. What's up, Dino? Long time no see. From
thanks for joining us,
Chat. Dino. Yeah, thanks for joining us, man. Mike, do you think Bigfoot live in tribes or just small family groups?
From what I've seen, smaller family groups. I had an occurrence one time. I walked up a dry creek bed about a quarter mile, half mile back in the woods. I knew there were some caves back there. My sister was with me again. I drag her around everywhere. And what I like to do is I like to stop and I just shoot pictures into the woods, just random, maybe 15, 20, 50 pictures. And when I looked at the pictures on my computer, there were 4 of them hunkered down in the brush watching us. I got a picture of 4 of them. And while we were there, we heard a tree knock in the distance. So there was 4 in the brush, 1 making the knock, and there had to be at least 1 or 2 more that they were knocking to alert them that there was humans in the area. So if that's a family group, I don't think it's a tribal group. I would say it's maybe an extended family group, but I don't think they get, they travel more than that in a group.
Very cool.
If that answers the question.
Do you have any of those pictures in the book?
Yes, I do.
There you go. I know that you do. I just wanted to make sure that the audience knows that, so that they can pick up the book and look for themselves. So there you go. But yeah, there's plenty of illustrations in the book, people. I just want to let you guys know that. Again, this is this is a wealth of information. You've really nailed it when it comes to writing. You got a really good writing style, by the way, Mike. Did you write this for the most part, or did you have someone help you write this?
My daughter is a journalist, and what I do is I write it out and then she edits it. So it's just an edited version, but it's the content is mine. The style is mine. It's just an edited for
spell check
to make it more readable. To make it more readable.
I got you. Yeah, no, it's like I said, I'm not gonna lie. I really wish I could just take one evening and just finish the book. I might even do that, like tomorrow night or something. But and just put everything down, because it's very intriguing. Again, there's photos, and it's written so easily I mean, you can easily read this, and you get really sucked into it, and so and I really mean that. I really do mean that. So it's very, very well written. I just wanted to compliment you on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's.
I do want to add that.
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
I just wanted to add that all the pictures in the book are mine. I took every picture in there. I didn't pull anything off the internet or anything. Those are my pictures. Okay.
Oh, very good. That's awesome. But we're going to go ahead and take our second break, and when we come back, we'll be speaking more with Mike Dupler and On the Trail of Bigfoot right here on Beyond the Strange. You're listening to KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM. We'll be right back right after this.
Lighting the Void, and you're listening to KTLK Digital Broadcasting Station, The Fringe FM.
This is the Rogie Report, news on The Fringe FM. I'm Jess Rogie. Recently, I reported on the genetically modified mosquitoes being released in Florida, and residents in the area are upset. Biotech company Oxitec is set to release 500 million gene-hacked mosquitoes. Some residents even threatening to destroy Oxitec's equipment. A resident named Virginia Donaldson told Futurism that two men in uniforms walked up to her house and said they worked for mosquito control and asked her to participate in a new pest control program. She said, "I don't even know what I signed. I just signed my name." I was like, "Oh, mosquito control? Yeah, whatever." Another resident said, "I find this criminal that we are being bullied into this experiment. We have everything to risk, nothing to gain, and it's all for Oxitec's bottom line." Critics fear that the genetically engineered mosquitoes and the wild population will create genetic hybrids, but Oxitec says the trial runs no danger of permanently altering the wider mosquito population. And just remember, this company has funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Could you spend 40 days in a cave without a phone, clocks, or even sunlight? According to Science Alert, a group of 8 men and 7 women lived in a cave in France as part of a $1.4 million project called Deep Time. The project set out to explore the limits of human adaptability to isolation. Their participants were just released this past weekend. The men and women used their biological clocks to figure out the time. One person believed they'd only been in the cave for 23 days. Some felt the urge to leave, while 2/3 wanted to stay longer. One woman said, "For once in our lives, we had time, and we could stop and live and do our tasks. It was great." A strange video has been making the rounds on the internet. The footage was recorded on CCTV in Costa Rica and uploaded to Reddit, Humanoid Encounters. The footage was recorded at night and shows a human-sized crab-like creature walking sideways. There are several dogs in the video that bark and react to the creature. Internet citizens are debating whether it's a cryptid or a human. If you're interested in true crime and cryptids, Hulu has a show for you. Sasquatch was released on Hulu on 4/20, and the docuseries covers the mysterious deaths of 3 farm workers in the 90s who were found ripped to shreds in California's Emerald Triangle. Did Bigfoot murder these 3 men, or was he framed? Check out the show to find out. This has been the Rogie Report, news on the Fringe FM. I'm Jess Rogie.
Hey, this is Deb, and you're listening to Dave Cruz on Beyond the Strange Radio.
is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. We are live on the Fringe FM, KTLK Digital Broadcasting. Tonight we're speaking with Mike Dupler, and he is the author of On the Trail of Bigfoot. And Mike is a paranormal author, an avid outdoorsman, a native Ohioan. He has sought adventures across the United States, attends cryptozoology conferences across the country, and you can learn more about Mike at www.mikedupler.com. Once again, thank you for joining us this evening, Mike Dupler.
You're welcome.
So since we've been in the chat, and even before that, it seems like we're gaining some traction on a lot of these questions.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and turn it over to Russ Bailey.
Okay, our good friend, the Night Stalker. What's up, Night Stalker? Great, thanks for joining us tonight. Has a question for you, Mike. What do you think of the high strangeness associated with Bigfoot? Example is single footprints that stop randomly and the way they vanish, etc.
I have cast 7 footprints, and when I've cast them, I have only found 1 footprint. But what I found was when they travel, they stick to, like, they don't follow game paths. They go along them. And what I found is, like, when they step across the game path and step down and leave one track, I found one in a low area that was had a lot of mud in it. What it did is it left one print, backed up, and then walked around this muddy area. So, and a lot of one thing that I think could possibly be going on is when they leave a track like that or a trackway, they'll actually backtrack to possibly keep their scent down when they're hunting or something along those lines, or even to confuse us. I think they do that type of thing. I don't think it's a question of it disappearing or cloaking or stepping into another dimension. I think it's just a tactic that they use.
Yeah, it's yeah, it does. And I mean, it definitely showing some sort of high intelligence also, wouldn't you say, Dave?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely feel that Bigfoot is much more intelligent than some people give it credit. But you know, you being an avid outdoorsman, Mike, you know, I'm sure you've been hunting and fishing and that kind of thing. So, you know, animals in general have an instinct. So I'm pretty sure Sasquatch does as well.
Absolutely. I'm of the opinion that when people see a Bigfoot, when they step out from behind a tree and let people see it, I think a lot of times that's intentional, because when somebody sees a Sasquatch, they'll tell everybody else, and then everybody else goes to that same area looking for Sasquatch. And what it could be doing is, I'll let you see me here. That way you won't be over here where my family's at.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
They'll draw you into another area because they know what we do, and they'll do that to keep us out from some other place.
That's a very good point. Yeah, definitely keep them away from the family of Bigfoot, the little ones, that kind of thing.
Right.
That's very good. Russ, did you have another question? I think I saw one in Spreaker chat.
Yeah, let me check there. Mike, there's another one from Dino. Do you believe some in the U.S. Forest Service or other government agency know about Bigfoot in reality?
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
There's a picture in my book of some pine trees that were arched, and what happened was these arched trees over time, I believe that the Sasquatch actually wove them together at the top, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And then I went back to like a few months later, and they had taken heavy equipment in there and tore them down. And that was the state doing it or government doing it. And I believe they did that just to cover up Bigfoot activity because they know they're there. Yeah, they're fully aware of them.
Actually, there is an interesting, again, Mike, your photos are especially on the remote viewing section and Sasquatch. There's a picture, I'm holding it up for video for later on, where Bigfoot looks like he's covered. He's blending in really well. And then you also, you have where it says the CIA worked with the Stanford Research Institute. Does this have to do with what Bigfoot is doing?
Okay. I was investigating, and the shutter motor went out on my point and shoot camera. Okay. So I was using my night vision camera that I use for ghost hunting in the daytime mode, and I was taking pictures into the woods like I usually do. And when I looked at that, I saw what looked like a Bigfoot face impressed in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was a Bigfoot active area, and I was using a specialty camera that picks up visible light that also picks up ultraviolet. So I was using a camera that's above the spectrum, and I believe that this could have been.
Mike, you're a little muffled. I think your mic might be. Mike, I don't know if you can hear me. Mike, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, you're a little muffled. I think when you're either like looking down or something, but I can barely hear you. I'm sorry, we didn't hear you.
Are we good now?
Yes.
Okay. I took the picture with the specialty camera that's above the.
You're muffled again. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
I don't think it's my phone.
Okay, I can hear you now. It might be the positioning of your phone. Are you on speaker or?
No.
Okay. All right. But right now I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I took the picture with a specialty camera that's above the visible spectrum, and it looks like this Bigfoot face impressed in the environment. And the first thing I thought was, could this be a form of remote viewing that they have developed over time as a defense mechanism?
Mm-hmm.
Because humans can do this, so it would be. You would think it would be a primate thing that others could do it if they develop the abilities to do that. And that would explain a whole lot as far as how they can be so elusive.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I've learned speaking with different people from the Native American community when they talk about Bigfoot, that it is almost like there is, well, it is a like a telepathic type communication between them. So I could definitely believe that. I get on board with that. And Russ Bailey has some more questions for you from the chats. So we have Spreaker chat and the Discord chat.
Yes. First one comes from the strange Discord chat from Toby. We say they are close to humankind, meaning the Bigfoot. Why would we not see more of the young Bigfoot, the young ones? We only see castings of full-size Bigfoot.
I have a footprint casting of a juvenile. I actually have two of them. They're out there. I don't think you see the juveniles with the groups is because they're protected by the group. Like I said, a Bigfoot could show itself on one hill to draw us away from the family that's on the other hill. So you're not going to see them. But there have been reports of juveniles being seen, but it's rare.
Right. And then we have another question from Dino in the Spreaker chat. Why did Bigfoot hide their existence from us?
That is the big question. One theory is that many thousands of years ago, it's thought that Homo erectus pretty much wiped out Gigantopithecus in Asia. And it could be something along those lines to where early man hunted them until almost extinction, and they had to go further into the woods or whatever to survive. And it could be just a repressed memory of being hunted by the early man, because many cultures have flood stories, and that is like an ancient memory that's passed down. It could be the same type of thing, to where they're passing down the memory of being hunted by Cro-Magnons or Homo erectus or whatever. But the actual reason, nobody knows. They don't stand still long enough to ask them.
This is true. And there is a comment in the Spreaker chat as well from JK. Thank you, JK, for joining us, by the way. I'm glad you found your way to finally join us in the Spreaker chat. And he says, or she says, JK, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're a female or male. And the logging industry doesn't want to be shut down with massive protection areas for them. It's basically because of the unknown, and their fear keeps them in disbelief. Yeah, I mean, it's all about, I believe, not only fear, but just trying to, exist, to not get mowed down. I mean, look what's happening. Look what's happened to the Amazon jungle. I mean, it's all the species of animals that were wiped out because of that. So I totally, feel that, they just want to stay in existence. They, that man is, I hate to say it, but man really does destroy a lot.
Yes.
And therefore, a lot of these cryptids, a lot of these animals and species and different like that. As a matter of fact, the one of the cryptids that I started really getting into is oh my gosh, it's not it's the silithine. It's oh my God, I'm gonna have to look it up.
I know
you know what I'm talking about, but I believe it was in Australia.
Yeah, the Tasmanian tiger.
Tasmanian tiger, thank you. And they showed like really old footage of it, like the last one in existence. Matter of fact, there was a movie about that, and Willem Dafoe was in that. It was a really good movie too. I can't remember the name of it, but it was really good. And so it started showing up again, and in the movie, and supposedly it's being shown, it's being seen once again. So these animals are they're going into deep hiding, but they know how to stay in existence. I believe.
Right. Yeah, they're adapting.
They're adapting. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just go way too long-winded on some of this stuff. But go ahead.
One thing about the logging industry, Bigfoot has been elusive against humans for centuries before the logging industry started. Where I'm at here in Tennessee, there's a lot of logging going on here, a lot of logging, but there's Bigfoots here too. I've found plenty of evidence, but I think what they've done is the Bigfoots have moved into the forest that are more hilly and sloped because they don't log them because of the slopes and the heavy equipment and that type of thing. So they've adapted that much to know where to go to stay away from the loggers.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Russ Bailey, we have some more questions.
Yes. Night Stalker has a couple of questions. First of all, Mike, do you think the government knows about Bigfoot and are hiding knowledge about its existence?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Like I said, that the pine trees that were woven together were torn down by government workers just to cover up Bigfoot activity.
Mm-hmm. And another question from the Night Stalker. This is a really good one. Do you think Bigfoot is connected to any of the missing people cases in national parks?
Personally, I don't think so, because the encounters I've had with them have been benign. There's been nothing threatening that I have seen, but I can't say what the actions are of the people who went missing. Maybe they were being doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. Maybe they were more of a threat to them, and that could be what happened to them. But yeah. I seriously don't think it's an ongoing thing. If it is, if something like that does happen, I think it's just an isolated case. I don't think it's them doing it on a wholesale occurrence.
Okay, there you go. It looks like we're getting more questions in the chat.
Gotta
keep up with them.
Toby says, could we hear about the thermal project they used to search the West Coast mountains a few years ago? Are you familiar with that, Mike?
No.
Yeah,
were they using Were they using like thermal imaging from aircraft or something?
That's what I would assume, possibly. I mean, that to me, if you're going to really, try to hone in on Bigfoot, that would probably be, a good start with thermal imaging, using a FLIR and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of researchers do use the thermal imaging. Most of the groups on TV, like Finding Bigfoot and this new Expedition Bigfoot, they all use thermal imaging cameras. But they can only do so much, because if it stands behind a tree, you're not going to pick up a heat signature. You can only pick it up if there is a line of sight between you and your target.
Right. And Toby elaborates in the chat a little bit. He's saying this thermal project was from satellites.
Yeah, satellites. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not aware of that at all. I haven't run across anything about that or heard of any results from it either. So that's a new one on me.
Yeah,
so we can research it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've heard of that project as well. That'll be a very interesting topic to cover one of these days. And just a heads up, we're going to go into our last segment here in about the next 4 minutes before the break. Mike, I know that you write a lot about some of the government involvement, with Bigfoot, and we're talking about these projects like Toby brought up. Do you think that there's other things besides Bigfoot that have not been brought to our attention? Maybe like Mothman or like some of these flatwoods, monsters, creatures, and that kind of thing. And could it be possibly related to extraterrestrial?
I don't think. Well, I would go more interdimensional.
Okay. Yeah.
Than extraterrestrial.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I definitely get that. And there was something before we get into the break. Well, what do you feel Sasquatch is? The Sasquatch that we know. What do you think is the direct descendant? Is it Gigantopithecus, or is it something else?
I don't think it's Gigantopithecus. I think it's an offshoot.
Oh, you're muffled again. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening. Sometimes it comes in and out.
Am I okay now?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think it's a direct descendant of Gigantopithecus, because if you look at the pictures I've taken, and if you look at the Patterson film, yes, what this looks like is gorilla lineage. Okay, definitely gorilla, and Gigantopithecus was an orangutan.
Oh,
so I don't think there's a direct. There's not a direct lineage, but it's indirect. It's a hominid lineage.
Okay, more of a descendant type thing.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, we're definitely connecting the dots tonight. I love this topic so much because I've spoken to a lot of people, and some have encountered Bigfoot, like you, and have actually got to see these things like almost face to face. And one of their first reactions is, unfortunately, they would want to just shoot it. I can't really speak for them, but I don't even know what I would do if that were the case with me. If you were to see this creature face to face, how would you react? How do you think you would react, knowing what you know?
Knowing what I know, I would put my arms up or something to show that I am peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a gun, I don't pull the gun. The only reason I would carry a gun to look for Sasquatch is just purely if my sister's with me. It's a comforting thing.
Yes.
And The only time I would ever use it would be in a total self-defense situation. I would not just go out and try to shoot one. I am definitely no kill on Sasquatch.
Okay.
But if it wanted to present itself to me, sure, we'll sit down, we'll have a beer, you know.
I know. I'll tell you why I agree with that when we get into our last segment and maybe open up a phone line. This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. Tonight we are speaking with Mike Dupler. He is the author of On the Trail of Bigfoot. We're so getting into such good stuff. Great conversation. Great questions from the chat room. Thank you very much. We'll be right back right after this. Don't go away.
Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Do you want to know more about what's going on in the world of UAPs, UFOs, current events, conspiracy analysis, and more? Join me, Jess Rogie, host of The Rogie Report and The Rogie Report News. Catch my show live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific and catch my news 5 nights a week here on The Fringe FM, KTLK Digital Broadcasting.
Hi folks. These uncertain times can cause uncertain gut slowdown. Worry and fear can wreak havoc on our digestion, making it hard to feel optimum. Bloating, less energy, and occasional constipation can slow you down in your daily activity. Try Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. Life Change Tea can help get things moving so you can get that boost of energy you need. Life Change Tea helps protect and defend your health from intruders. It's a weird time right now with all the uncertainty, so gear up and defend your health. Where do you go to purchase? Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. The specials are on the front page, and we have numerous supplements to help combat intruders. It's time to take charge of our health and to feel better in life. It's time to live. Again, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. It is so worth it. GetTheTea.com.
The truth is out there, and so are we. KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Tired of going out and having fun on Friday nights? Perfect. Because that's when our show, Shift Happens, airs live every Friday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, that's 9 p.m. Central, right here on The Fringe FM. You get there while you can status.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
It's April, the month of burning, when the sun proceeds into its waxing phase, right here on KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
What are we going to do tomorrow night?
Same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
back, everyone. This is Beyond the Strange. I am your host, Dave Cruz, broadcasting live on KTLK Digital Broadcasting, Fringe.fm, and Spreaker. I just wanted to remind you all that we do Twitch shows during the week, and typically there are Wednesday and Thursday nights. If you go to beyondthestrange.com, you can see the complete calendar, and you'll find when those are, or you can actually follow us on Twitch, and you'll get your notifications when there is a Twitch show. Just check the social media on beyondthestrange.com, and you will find when we have those shows, and they are video, and they have a separate chat room. It's all good stuff, and you'd love to see, if you want to see your favorite guest or speaker, then that's the way to do it on Beyond Strange TV on Twitch, and that's Wednesday and Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific. All right, well, let's get back to the show tonight, and that is going to be with Mike Dupler, and Mike is the author of On the Trail of Bigfoot. Once again, you can find more information at www.mikedupler.com. Mike, thank you once again for joining us tonight in this conversation.
Glad to be here.
And it's been a fantastic show. Now, I do want to put it out there. We do have the phone line open. That number is 1-415-891-9083. Again, that number is 1-415-891-9083. Russ Bailey was good enough to put that in both Spreaker chat and the Strange Chat Discord channel. So go ahead and dial in whenever you want to, 1-415-891-9083 to get your questions and comments. Be a little mindful, please. Kind of keep it to at least 5 minutes. That way other people can get in. It is towards the end of the show. All right, so let's get a little woo-woo, if you don't mind. And when I do mean woo-woo, because look, I am a spiritual person. I believe in a lot of spiritual beliefs, and you write a lot about the different cultures, indigenous people who believe that Bigfoot is also mystical and magical, and I'm not saying that they're not. I feel that there's explanations to everything, and maybe they are a spiritual being or an interdimensional being. So, you do write about that in this book of yours, Mike. So I'd like to get your comments on that.
I don't personally believe that Bigfoot is an interdimensional creature. Jeff Melger made a statement one time that these are too well adapted to their environment to be from somewhere else. And they've been around for a very long time. I believe that Leif Erikson had an encounter, I believe the year was 989, with a Bigfoot type creature. So they've been around for a very long time. And to be interdimensional, what a lot of people think is they just wink in and out of realities, which would go against every law of physics that we have.
Lost you there, Mike. Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know what's going on with this thing because I'm really not moving.
That's bizarre. Yeah, it's like it comes in and out. But you're good right now. I can hear you. I thought I could hear you. He went out again. I'm really sorry that that's happening. I don't know what that's all about. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I hear you perfect right now.
Okay. Well, I'll try not to move. I'll put my tin hat on. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that there's not interdimensional, because I believe I have encountered interdimensional in my ghost hunting endeavors, but I don't think this is it. It's been around too long. There's a lineage. There's ancestry with Gigantopithecus and others.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how it got to the Americas. That's a mystery. We don't know why they're elusive. So elusive, that's a mystery. But I think they are flesh and blood. I don't think there's any corroboration as far as being able to go between dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just. I think that the possibility of the Native American superstitions and myths is because this is so elusive and can hide anywhere that they have to put a spiritual aspect to it to try to explain this activity.
So you don't feel like when, let's say, the Native American community, some of their tribes, if you will, believe that Sasquatch is a spiritual creature that actually protects them, and therefore, debunking that Sasquatch is a murderer, a killer, but actually a protector of people. Almost sounds like a superhero, actually. Your thoughts on that would be they feel that they need to maybe believe that that's what's happening?
There could be instances of that very thing happening. Does anybody remember the little boy that got lost? I believe it was in Kentucky for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And they found him, and they said that the giant bear protected him.
Yep.
That could very well be a Sasquatch.
Yep. That was very recent, too.
Yeah. They're intelligent enough to where they can understand situations where somebody needs help or somebody needs, run off or whatever. But it could be that they had maybe a benevolent group of Bigfoot who helped them in certain situations, and that's how that came about and spread. But that's just speculation. It could just be just myths or stories, but it could be based in truth.
Could be. We do have our first caller tonight, and this is from the 607 area code. You are live on Beyond the Strange with Mike Dupler, Dave, and Russ.
Hey, Mike and Dave. This is JK from Spreaker.
Hey, JK. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome.
What's up?
Well, I just had to, I might reveal, I accidentally met Bigfoot in the early 70s.
Okay.
But I could, and I never, I've talked to other researchers, not in person, but I never revealed everything about it to them, but details. But, it was just that, 14 years old, and you're walking home from a friend's house, and the sun, school's out, and you're staying up late. And anyway, it just happened to be, I live in the mountain, in the hills, and very foggy nights, so you can't see. 1 minute you could see 20 feet in front of you, the next minute you can't see 2 feet in front of you because the fog's rolling in. Well, and there's not many at that time that, lights. There's no, you're in the country. And, there's a light on a pole every, quarter of a mile maybe. But anyway, I was almost home, and there was a dog at this house that always came out, and no matter what time, if he saw or heard somebody, he had a super long chain tied to a porch, and it didn't come out. And the chain, it would come right up to the edge of the road and bark at you.
Mm.
Well, I'm like, that's odd, and I had, I'm very quiet, I had sneakers on, and there's thick fog, and so I tiptoed up their short driveway, and the chain was wrapped around the porch, and like the dog was on the porch, or and I peeked around the corner. I got up on the stairs, And this dog, I mean, this was, I'm living in the Northeast, so it's.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Huh?
I was going to ask you about that if you're near a body of water or, the ocean or a lake or something like that.
No, I am. I was in between two rivers, though.
Okay.
There's one like a couple miles one way, and they actually meet down farther stream in the city. And the dog was in the corner of the porch. This is after school. This is middle of June. Is shivering like it's 20 degrees out. I had a sweatshirt on. It was like 50 degrees, whatever. And I reached out to pet the dog, like, what's the matter? And it shivered more, like it was afraid. I'm like, that's weird, that the dog should be barking at me and tearing me up,
Right. Yeah.
So I tiptoed back down their short driveway, and I started walking towards my house. There's a dark figure. Well, and of course, at this time, I had no idea of a Bigfoot or what it was or anything. So I see the figure, and it looks like a dog, a big dog, and there's no wolves. So I'm thinking it's a stray dog or somebody's neighbor dog. It looked like it was eating roadkill because its head was go up and down.
So I'm guessing it was on its all fours.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm over. You rethink things that happen to you like this 1,000 times in your life, and then I find out it was on its all fours because that neighbor had it, and I've even talked to him recently about it, and I haven't talked to him in decades because I went to the same school, but he had a little tiny shed barn thing that they kept chickens and rabbits in, and I remember him saying, something's getting in there and it's breaking the lock. They thought it was a human, a neighbor or something, stealing chickens. And that was stuck in my mind, and I told him about that. But anyway, so I'm waiting for it to leave. Like, when's this thing going to leave? I'm tired. I got to get home. And it wouldn't leave, but it's facing away from me upwind. And the fog would come in, every so often, and you couldn't see it, and he couldn't see me, and he's facing away. He's bobbing his head up and down. There's a row of trees, and a ditch there, and I started walking slowly toward him. I'm like, damn, that's a big dog. That's a huge dog. This is crazy, And I'd stop and watch her for a couple more minutes, and finally, I'm like, I gotta get home. So started throwing rocks at it. And then, I must have missed it or whatever, and it would turn and look the opposite way, and behind him, where the trees on the other side of the road were thick. About the third time I threw a bigger rock, I must have hit him or something, because it stood up. My first thought was, it's a bear. And then I'm like, I'm thinking, it's coming right at me, but it's walking. And the thing was, by the time I could think that, it was halfway to me. This is like 100 feet away. And then this big waft of fog goes in between us, and we both lost sight of each other. And I'm thinking, it's gone, thank God. Then the fog cleared like a few seconds later, and now it's like 20 feet away from me, coming at me fast. So now I'm thinking, okay, I'm dead. By the speed it was walking, in my mind, I was already dead. There's nothing I can do,
Yeah, that's really scary, man. This is really, really, really. I'm sorry. Go ahead, JK. Finish that thought. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then I, I submitted and gave up because there's nothing I can do. I'm already dead. Thinking it's some kind of creature, whatever. So I put my head down, and then nothing happened. And I'm thinking, oh, did it leave? And after about 30 seconds, I opened my eyes. I'm looking at the road, and there's these giant legs, and his feet are like 1.5 feet away or whatever from my feet. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? What's going to happen? And I couldn't. And I'm just, another 30 seconds. I'm like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And I'm looking down. My eyes are open, and I raised my head up a little bit, and then I saw, my head was like, eyes were like level with its midriff or whatever. And then I thought, this is it. I mean, this is my only chance to see what this is. I might get the, nerve up to look at it. And I did. So I'm close enough to touch it. And I looked right up into its eyes, and as if to telepathically say, I didn't say anything or scream or to say, sorry for throwing rocks at you. I thought you were a, stray dog eating roadkill or something, and I looked at it like, don't hurt me,
Yeah. JK, how tall are you?
Well, this was when I was 14, and I was tall, kind of tall for my age, so and it was the early 70s, so I had long brown hair down past my shoulders, and I had dark clothes on, but
The reason why I ask is because I mean, if you had to look up at it, this is telling me that this creature is pretty tall.
Huge.
Yeah, I'm thinking 7 feet or more. But when I looked at
that's
it,
tall.
I'm thinking,
huge.
Yeah.
But the girth of it and the musculature had to be at least 450 pounds.
Oh man, Mike, this is definitely a classic Bigfoot. What do you think?
Well,
did it look like a dog?
No. I can reach out and touch it. That's how close I was. It looked like,
but you said
a cross human and anthropoid, but gorilla, not gorilla, you know what I mean? Like, a wild animal gorilla type,
right?
More human looking, and it didn't look mean, didn't look mad. It was very still. And I only looked at it for maybe 15 seconds because I didn't dare, when you look something in the eye, humans or, animals, they can get the wrong eye. So I only, and I said that like in my mind, and I could see its eyes scanning me up and down, like looking for weapons, I guess. I don't know. That's the other thing, is I didn't have weapons on me, and it must have known I wasn't a threat. So then I just put my back down and closed my eyes, and then waited, and finally, like a minute later, I could hear its footsteps, boom, boom, boom. It's already in the woods, and I looked over, and it stopped and turned and looked at me like, to see if I was going to follow it, or I don't know. But then I just ran home,
Well, I don't blame you, JK, and I'm sorry. I have to go to our last caller because we're running out of time. But man, definitely call in again when we have an open lines episode, because I definitely want to hear the rest of that. And man, JK, wow, that's crazy. I mean, thank you so much for sharing that. I know that's tough to share, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. I enjoy your show, Dave.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, man, I hated to do that, but we definitely do have one more caller to call in, and Night Stalker wants to call in, I believe, to talk to you, Mike. But what do you think about that, Mike? It does sound like a stray dog in the beginning, but then it sounds like it's getting bigger. It's covered in fur, and then it gets on its hind legs. That's pretty amazing.
The impression I got was it could have. Do you know what a dog man is?
Yes, yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
That's what I was thinking. The way he was describing it, that this guy was looking at a dog man. But I wasn't there,
Yeah, no. I definitely feel the same thing. 978 area code. You are live on Beyond the Strange with Mike Dupler, Dave, and Russ.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Russ. Hey, Mike. The Night Stalker.
Night Stalker, what's happening, bro?
What's up?
Really great show tonight. I'll be quick. I got a quick question and a perspective maybe to toss out there.
Thank you, sir.
Mike, have you ever seen ghost lights when you're tracking these Bigfoot? I've heard a lot of people have. And connected to that, do you think there's any possible like trickster spirit type ethereal connection maybe with Bigfoot, or maybe that there's some kind of trickster entity that's imitating Bigfoot maybe? Because if you think about the type of phenomena that's associated with it, like strange sounds in the woods, the feeling of being watched, having rocks thrown at you, if you were indoors, if that was happening in your house, you would call that a haunting. That would be like poltergeist activity. So is perhaps Bigfoot like some kind of nature poltergeist, some kind of trickster, or is there an entity that's maybe masking itself as Bigfoot, like Jacques Vallée might think? That's pretty much it. But a really great show tonight, you guys. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Have you ever heard of the Brown Mountain Lights?
Yes.
I have seen the Brown Mountain Lights. And what they are, they're just orbs of light. The first one I saw, I thought it was somebody walking through the woods with a flashlight. And they kept winking into existence, and there turned out to be like a dozen of them. And they would dance around, and they were different colors. One shot up into the air above the tree line. I mean, this was totally amazing, and it looks exactly like what they're seeing as far as the orbs in the woods are. And I don't think it has anything to do with Bigfoot. I think these are naturally occurring and of unknown origin. But I have seen those, yes, I have. And there was no association with Bigfoot at all with those.
Yeah, amazing stuff. I've heard a lot about stories of Brown Mountain Lights. Russ, we both talk about it. We've talked about it on the show. Perhaps, we can, whenever you want to come back, Mike, we can talk some more paranormal stuff as well. But we are at the end of the show. I apologize to everyone. Sorry, JK, for, cutting you off. I appreciate it, brother. I'll reach out to you. You can always email me at dave@beyondthestrange.com. Mike, please let everybody know where they can find you and everything that's you, my friend.
Okay, my book is On the Trail of Bigfoot. It is available on Amazon, through Barnes & Noble, and through IndieBound. And it is available now, and get it while you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, fantastic book. Probably going to finish reading it tonight and then get on the Sasquatch thing on Hulu. But you come first, Mike. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight, man. It was a great, fantastic episode. And please, please, please come again. We'll stay in touch.
All right.
Have a good night.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Mike Dupler, everybody. The book is On the Trail of Bigfoot, and you can go to beyondthestrange.com, and I have links to that, and we'll also have links to Mike's information. Thank you again, everyone, for sharing and for calling in. Fantastic evening. Russ Bailey, once again, Black Sky Paranormal, and everything else.
Yep, beyondthestrange.com.
And Facebook, Beyonders Crew, and Argos Paranormal, and all that good stuff.
Yep.
And,
all that great stuff, yeah.
Beyondthestrange.com, indeed. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight on the Fringe FM. Stay tuned for Lighting the Void with Joe Roop. And stay strange. We'll see you next time. Hasta.